Howdy, my name is Daxeo, and this is Plugged In News. In today's pin update, we have an influx of 7,000 migrant children in February. An FBI investigation leads to no connection between Republican lawmakers and rioters. And last but not least, Twitter banned former Republican Senate candidate Lauren Witzke. Let's get right into that. Alright, for our first story today, this is from CBS News by Camilo Montoya Galvez. It's titled, U.S. Shelters Receive More Than 7,000 Migrant Children in February, Posing Early Border Tests for Biden. It goes on to read, shelters overseen by the U.S. government received more than 7,000 migrant children in February due to a marked increase in the number of unaccompanied minors entering the U.S. border custody, according to a preliminary government data reviewed by CBS News. As first reported by CBS last week, the refugee agency had instructed its shelters and foster homes for unaccompanied migrant children to begin using beds that have been taken offline On Friday, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention authorized the refugee agency's shelters to return bed space back to pre-pandemic levels, citing extraordinary circumstances, according to an internal government memo obtained by CBS News. To respond to the uptick in border crossings, the U.S. Refugee Agency reopened a Trump-era influx holding facility in Carrizo Springs, Texas, that was housing nearly 300 teenager boys this week. It also helped to agree pay for the airfare of children ready to be released to their sponsors. CBS goes on to interview a shelter official for the last part, and he states, I think they have a real problem on their hands. They're frankly going to be overwhelmed with these numbers. There's just been a crazy influx of migrants crossing over ever since Joe Biden opened up the border. I mean, the refugees might have had COVID and stuff as they came over the border, and some of these people don't even get tested because they don't end up in these facilities. It's mostly only the kids, and these kids are still in cages, just like in the Trump era. They were in cages too. That was the Obama era that started that, but yeah. Alright, and for our next story today, this is from Red Straight by Strife. FBI investigation finds no evidence any Republican members of Congress aided Capitol rioters, but the damage is already done. In the story, it states, the last of the Capitol rioters had barely vacated the premises when Nancy Pelosi's allies began slandering their Republican colleagues, claiming that Republican members of Congress had taken an active role in permitting the demonstrators. Indeed, if they were BLM demonstrators, they would be calling them peaceful to enter the Capitol. Baseless allegations were made that some Republican members of Congress allowed rioters to enter the Capitol by having them issued visitors' passes. It goes on to read that the FBI came out with a statement that claimed, the same data has revealed no evidence of communications between the rioters and members of Congress during the deadly attack, the official stated. That undercuts Democratic allegations that some Republican lawmakers were active participants in any other way. The author goes on to write, this is just another one of the completely false narratives peddled by the Democrats, the media, the National Review, the Bulwark, the Dispatch, and a bunch of pedo-enabling losers that have self-destructed. The sad fact that is, the truth probably does not matter. Pelosi's goal was to tar all the GOP with directly responsibility for the Capitol riot and use those false allegations in the 2022 campaign. The narratives are out there, and viciously partisan press is still circulating them, even the probably false ones. We will see the allegations again in the next election and the next. Yeah, I mean, the story is good that it proves that no Republican members of Congress had anything to do with the riots. Basically dismantling AOC's tweet at Ted Cruz saying, oh, you wanted me killed. You wanted the rioters to kill me. Alright, and our last story for today just absolutely blows my mind. Twitter bans Lauren Witzke. It actually doesn't blow my mind. Hold on. Twitter bans Lauren Witzke for criticizing trans woman who says little girls are kinky. In the story, it reads, a former Republican Senate candidate Lauren Witzke, who is now the spokesman of Pro-Election Integrity Hold the Line PAC, was banned from Twitter for using the word demonic to describe the words of a transgender activist, Alok Vade Menon, who once said that transgender women and young girls should use the same restroom because little girls are kinky. As National File reported earlier today, a feminist Twitter account posted several very disturbing statements made by a transgender woman. Perhaps the most disturbing statement is that from a transgender activist, Alak Vad Menon, a transgender woman with overwhelmingly body hair, who once wrote, "The narrative is that transgender people will come into bathrooms and abuse little girls. The supposed purity of the victims has remained stagnant." The tweeter also added, "There are no princesses. Little girls are also kinky. Your kids aren't as straight and narrow as you think." Witzke quoted the tweet and said, "Demonic." She was banned by Twitter for this post. In a statement provided to the National File by Witzke, she said, "Twitter has finally suspended my account for calling pedophilia and transgenderism what it is, demonic. Tech censorship will not stop until every conservative voice is silenced. Republicans choose to do nothing, and this is the price we have to pay," she said. Never stop fighting evil with truth. Before the end of today's video, here's the heartwarming clip of the day.
Come on. Come on. Come on, go.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you drop a like, drop a sub, drop a comment down below. Let me know how I'm doing. Keep doing your own research and stay informed, guys. Peace.